Okay guys, we're going to look at a Kimura lock starting from half guard. So Kimura was a famous judo player that popularized the shoulder lock. That's where the name Kimura comes from. So from my half guard, I'm going to have a low knee shield and I'm going to cross my feet so I have good control over him with my legs. If my legs are relaxed, he can sprawl out and I lose some connection and maybe he's on his way to passing my guard. So I have to have a strong connection with my legs so I have some control. My arm frames will be like such. I'll have this cross shoulder post. So I'm on his shoulder and my elbows going across his chest and I'm at his bicep here. I want to be at his bicep so it isn't easy for him to get control over my head. So I'm just kind of monitoring that arm so he doesn't have a good grip on my head. So as I move to the Kimura grip, this hand that's on his shoulder is going to slide down to his elbow pit and then I'm going to collect his wrist. So I really want to grab at the wrist. I don't want to grab at the forearm. Okay? So I'm going to grab right at the end of his wrist here and I'm going to come forward to get my grip. So I'll likely have to get my knee out of the way. So I uncross my feet, I come forward and I get my Kimura grip. So one of the keys to this is having downward pressure on the back of his shoulder here. So I squeeze my shoulder down like this. So I have some good control over him. And if I can get this hand behind his back immediately, this is the best. This is where I have a really good chance of finishing him right now. And his arm is bent. If his arm is straight, it doesn't have the same pressure on his shoulder, and he's likely maybe to escape. So I get this arm behind his back, his arm is bent. I essentially now want to start going flat on my back and bringing his hand to his own shoulder. So I'm bringing his hand up in this direction. This is going to give me the finish. Oftentimes here, this guy does not want to get finished, so he'll roll over this same shoulder. And what we'll do here is essentially we'll follow him. So my legs carry me over and I end up on the top here in half guard. So now we're going to fix our grip here to finish him. So I come down, get the edge of his hand, bend his wrist, and I collect it with my one hand. So take a look at this grip. His wrist is bent, I have the blade of his hand. If I only grab his wrist, he'll likely be strong enough to escape that grip. But if I have the blade of his hand, especially if his wrist is bent, this is really powerful grip. Now I want to get out of the half guard. So I'm going to post, not on this leg, on the other leg. I'll post on that leg, lift my hips up, and bring my shin in here. So you see that that acts as a strong wedge. Now I'm able to get my leg out. Now I'm going to go to a north-south pin to finish this. So my head will go over here, and my hand will come here. Look, and I'm pinning him down, so it's hard for him to move. And now I roll his shoulder, and I get the finish, like so. Okay, one more time, coach. So I have my good knee shield. I have my cross shoulder post. I'm monitoring this arm. I slide down to the elbow pit. I slide down to the wrist. I open my legs up. I come and get my grip. I get his hand behind his back. I have good downward pressure. If he does nothing, I get my finish. If he rolls over his inside shoulder, he carries me with him. Now I'm on top. I want to get my single grip. So I get the blade of his hand, feed it to this hand here. I don't post on this leg. I post on the other leg. Get my shin on top of his thigh so I have a strong wedge to escape. I block his hip. My head blocks the other hip. I have good pinning pressure. And I just finish